Some of the humanitarian aid USAID provided went to the African nation of Sudan. For nearly 2 years now, its people have been caught in the middle of a civil war between two warlords.
Debora Patta got a rare look inside Sudan. As you're about to see here, what's happening to children there is heartbreaking.
It took us nearly 2 years to get visas to enter Sudan. Once inside, we drove 12 to 14 hours a day to reach areas near the front lines. And what we found was deeply distressing. A country in the grip of the largest humanitarian crisis in the world. In the tented camps where families have fled war, every newly arrived child is critically starving. The worst cases are hospitalized. Tiny bodies wasting away. This little girl was too weak to even cry.
I think we're in dire straits here in Sudan, to be honest.
Dr. Mohammed Fadlala is from Cincinnati. He's a volunteer with Doctors Without Borders at the Al Bullock Children's Hospital near the capital, Khartoum. He had just admitted 13-month-old Ibrahim Jaffer when we got there. Fadlala told us the little boy was close to dying and his eyesight was badly damaged from severe malnutrition. The family had been trapped by fighting for months. There was no food, his grandmother Niamat Abu Bakr told us. At times, nothing at all, not even water. She was worried they were too late. A fear shared by every parent here. Doctors and nutritionists here all told us the same thing. Without humanitarian aid and medical intervention, the children you see in this ward would not be alive. And much of that aid comes from USAID. America is also the World Food Programme's biggest funder. And a lot of the grain you see in this warehouse is paid for by the US. There's an urgent race to get it to famine-stricken areas. It had been gathering dust for more than a month, while the WFP waited for permission to transport it. Food has frequently been weaponized by rival warlords. And if that wasn't hard enough, then came President Trump's announcement of a 90-day suspension of aid. WFP's Lenny Kensley told us that could be catastrophic.
The time to roll back funding is not now. It's the time to step up funding.
You don't have 90 days.
And every single delay means lives are lost. We are extremely worried it's going to be too late, and we're going to be digging up bodies instead of feeding them.
Debora, I want to ask you about some of the other ramifications of this humanitarian aid from USAID. What happens down the line if it doesn't make it?
Well, John, let me give you a concrete example. In the last few weeks, 2 ships have docked at Port Sudan, American ships carrying food provided by USAID. Now, each of those ships could potentially feed over 1 million people. That food has to be offloaded, stored in a warehouse, then at some point loaded onto a truck and driven to where these starving people are. So when we talk of aid, it's not just food, it's the trucks, the drivers. There's no one to pay the drivers. Staff have been locked out of their computers. They don't have access to their phones, their contacts. We are talking about the unraveling of an entire system, which will be hard to bring back. And as that system collapses, one source told us 8 million Sudanese could starve to death.
And Debora, that little boy in your piece, Ibrahim is his name. His situation tugs at your heart. Do you know how he's doing tonight?
Oh, thanks for asking that, Maurice. Well, we went back to see baby Ibrahim a day later, and sadly his condition had worsened. Now, this is a very common problem for children suffering from severe malnutrition. If left unchecked, if they do not get help, they usually develop an infection that could kill them. He was on oxygen, an intravenous drip. Doctors were very worried, but I'm happy to report that we checked up on him today, and he's doing a lot better. In fact, he's even gained a little weight.